What's up? What the fuck's up? Yo, yo, yo. They. What's up? What's up? What's up? Winter cut. Let me get a tube of winter cut. Bam. What y'all doing? How's everybody doing? Everybody doing good? Looks like we're fucking good. So I just wanted to say, I went into my email today. I had about 100 emails, probably, or somewhere close. It's probably not 100. It's probably 80. Probably like 80 emails. And so I really apologize. So I guess a couple things about that. I don't have a shitload of time to be checking emails, and so my frequency of checking emails is very low, like maybe every other week or something. You know, I just can't do it all the time, so they pile up. Yeah, 80 of those were feds of the email. So when I'm checking emails, I attempt to respond to you guys. Sometimes the responses are going to be like, hey, thanks. That's not because I'm not trying to discount you. It's because I either can't think of how I want to respond. Let me fix right up. I'm trying to answer them. Sometimes I have to do kind of an answer, just because of the sheer volume. You know what I mean? But I am reading them. I do read your emails if you send them to me. At the same time, I'm pretty much making emails so that people can contact me, but it's not, like, I'm not making an email or these streams so that I have to, like, tend to you guys, you know? So while I appreciate any kind of heartfelt comment, as long as the email is thought out, it doesn't matter to me if it's, critical or whatever. Like, I'll read it. If you send an email, I'll fucking read it. But I can't promise you how long it's going to take. It may take a little while. I have not checked the P.O. box. I check even less than the emails. So I haven't been there for probably 2 weeks. I will check it. I also, when I get stuff mail at the post office box, I pretty much open it in a controlled setting in case it's like fucking anthrax or bombs or something like that. So sometimes I get it and go put it in my pit and it has to sit there for like a day or something because I just can't get around to doing it. And then when I have time to pay attention, then I'll go and open the shit. I didn't get any White Claw. Okay. So that's that about emails. One of these things with the streams, I'm really busy right now. So this is like I've started winter prep. So I'm getting ready to be planting fall vegetables, fall harvest. I'm gonna be planting that, and then I'm getting all my fuel ready for the winter. So I'm processing a lot of wood right now to get ready. So I'm less active. I was thinking about it is kind of crazy. It's kind of, I'd be surprised. I'm surprised that the MSM has any kind of like crossover with anything that I would say at all. I wonder if it has to do with the stream. The streams are getting a good amount of viewership. They're getting around 1,000 views minimum, you know. And some of the people that are viewing the streams, I don't know everybody personally that's viewing it. I do know that there are some influencers that have said hi that watch the streams. They're gonna remain anonymous, but there are some influencers that are watching these. So I don't know if it like word gets around and then shit gets out, but you do see a lot of a lot of the stuff that gets discussed in these streams ends up peeking its way out on MSM later through basically like dissenter media or dissenter media personalities in both the alt media and some MSM too. Although I don't know if the MSM people know that it comes from here. I think they probably get it through a secondary or tertiary source as it goes through MSM or as it goes through social media and shit, or people just discussing it, which is awesome because it's totally preferable that way. Like, if this gets very mainstream, I'm probably going to stop. If enough people start watching this, I don't know. Because if they start watching it, they'll try to twist it. They'll start twisting it. But as long as the information is getting out there. Also, another thing I don't want any kind of idolization, right? So if people start losing focus, the entire focus of the streams is supposed to be to try to give the shape of tools to analyze reality, both political reality and societal reality. Tools to analyze it so that you're not confused, right? Because we really, as a society, we've had our tools stripped from us, and it becomes very difficult to analyze exactly what's going on. And it's confusing because of the level of disinformation that's actively put out in the media. It's difficult to part all of the data and look at it. Even if it doesn't mean that you're going to be right, it means that you're going to be able to analyze it in a useful way with the Rosetta Stone, to be able to parse that information that's useful, right? Like useful information, right? You could have it could be the most bad shit, international child sex trafficking, whatever theory, and it's probably true. If you don't understand why it's happening or who's running it, then it's not very useful in stopping future events, right? So by having the correct Rosetta Stone and the way of thinking freely, using your own mind, not having to listen to other people, right? Being able to use the tools that you're given in your creation and being able to analyze shit and understand what the motive is. Like what is the fuel that is motivating all this whacked out shit? That helps you make predictions in the future. That is what assists you in knowing where to look, Like if you're looking for a needle in a haystack, well, if you know where the fucking needles get shoved, then it makes it a little easier to find it, you know what I mean? But I don't want idolization, and so, it's very unhealthy, and if it gets like that, it means that I have to pull back and reanalyze how the information flow goes, right? Yeah, fucking everything is fucking disinfo. Now, I was thinking about the ecological aspect of parasitism in nature and how it models in society. And it's really fascinating. Who studied parasitism very closely would be Miriam Rothschild. Both her and her father. And I think Walter Rothschild also. Lots of animal study, peripheral family. Miriam, she's deceased now. She's no longer with us. Miriam, like multi-stage organisms, where they're going through multiple hosts. Documentary about her in the 70s. She discusses her heavy interest in parasites. And I don't mean like she's just studying them. I mean like Miriam Rothschild is accredited with some of the most advanced study of like fleas and like the flea organisms. I'm talking about her getting the equivalent of, she discusses it in the documentary. It's pretty fascinating stuff. Economically, in terms of energy, like making an equivalent energy model of what society uses for energy, and then applying it as an analogy to what happens in nature in parasitism. It's really no different. But it's not really a counterforce that shit. The like if people run shit. Oh shit! I think we just got high centered. Fuck me. I'm gonna have to clear some logs here. What the fuck is that? Holy shit! Look at this fucking log we just got set. That's an old. I must have forgot to pick that one. Fuck. The parasitism aspect. So it's interesting when you think about like world finance and shit, money and how it works. Like a lot of people look at it when they're looking at shit conspiracy minded, looking at things, you know, like the term conspiracy theory in itself is a introduced concept. It's kind of pretty smart motherfuckers introduced that idea. And of course the media and the entertainment proliferates its misunderstanding. But the interesting thing about parasitism with world finance, things like that, with money, the architecture of money, people look at it like they look at it like fucking that look into the fucking bad apples, then, you know, we'd be good to go. That's thinking about it like the egg came before the chicken. You see what I'm saying? So the reality is that the parasites create the ecosystem in humanity. It's not the same. They model parasitism in nature, except that nature is an energy source is so powerful, and an organism is so close to being able to harvest it that it then alters itself and its behavior in order to efficiently access and gain access and maintain access to an energy source. That is the natural model, right? Now that is modeled because of we are in order to more efficiently provide and maintain the energy source, right? That's the difference. Is that nature is passive. Parasitism in nature is passive. Parasitism in humanity is active, right? Because of the aspect of manipulating, being able to alter, manipulate the environment. You know, so you have both directions. You have both the adaptivity of humanity, the individual, the ability to overcome, and then you also have from the back end going the other way. You have the ability to alter and manipulate the environment. I don't know what Glover's American contingency is. Yeah, I would be buying land. If you're not going to buy land, then I would make a nonprofit in order to help society in a unexpected and novel way that's extremely disruptive. I would think long and hard about society and how it's enslaved and enchained. And what I'm responding to, if you're watching this, somebody says they have a large inheritance that they can't buy land with, and they're going to have access to it in 6 years. What should they do with it? I say that you should assuming that you still have the current economic model, I would make a nonprofit that is disruptive to society. This is what I would do. If you want a freebie, this is what I would do. I would create a model of what would you call it? Pyrolytic fuel conversion from waste plastics. That's what I would do. And I would do it as a nonprofit, and then have your model be this. This is what I'd have your model be. Like when people used to turn in soda cans, aluminum, and get change for it. What I would do is I would have people go around the United States, and in the United States, I would set up shops in cities to receive plastics. Okay, and there's a wide variety of plastics. You have to go into it to look at it to see which hydrocarbon chains are appropriate. Some of them, like PVC, have contaminants in them. But the majority of your plastics can be rendered into their various like shorter hydrocarbon chains through heat in the absence of oxygen, and that's it. And so what I would do is I would set up a system where you can have facilities where the general public is able to bring in plastic from trash off the street, wherever, and then convert it into fuel, right? You convert it into fuel. So the way that it would work in practicality, what it would look like on like individual front level, a person goes around and collects a bunch of plastic, brings it in, and then you weigh it or whatever and check to make sure it's not fucking PVC or whatever. And then they walk out with a can of whatever fuel they want, right? What you do is you take the plastic by kilogram or weight, whatever unit you want to use. You take the mass of how much plastic you're doing. You figure out your conversion to give them a percentage back in rendered product. You take their stock material and you put it in Q. It gets processed, and then you're rendering 100%. What you give them is the percentage that you're willing to like give away minus the amount of energy that you're putting into it. You have to have that in order to, you'd have to calculate that correctly in order to stay afloat, right? So you're not sinking. But what happens is you clean up these excretes, you get plastic out, and then you render fuel, and then you fuck the fucking control paradigm's fuel in the ass. That's what you're doing by giving away fucking fuel. If you do it on straight trade without any kind of money involved, then that's like so clean, because you're gonna avoid tax entirely in terms of IRS code. The other thing that you're going to do is you're going to avoid, in the nonprofit model, you have something that's called UBI, which is unrelated business income tax. That would happen when you're doing some kind of nonprofit entity, but you sell things, right? And you get UBI into it if the sale isn't a part of the actual public trust function. So, like, for example, if you were selling shit, but your nonprofit was like, we're going to teach people how to sell products for like small business or something, for people that can't access small business, wouldn't have a chance to do it, and we want to give them experience, and they come there and work and then go through all the motions of how to run a business. That would be the nonprofit purpose. And in that case, there are situations where what you sold would not fall under UBI. But in most situations, when you sell, like when money enters into it, like you're selling things, in order to meet so that you get taxed on what you sell. Now, the real kicker is when you make the model and you change your profit percentage of fuel. I'm saying, of like hydrocarbons. When you make it significant enough to where you're stocking up plenty on the back end, now it becomes fucking significant, because you can expand the model. And you can push it everywhere in the United States. You could have one in every single town. Now, you get so suave on this, theoretically. So when you're breaking down, so to describe this to you, when fuel is processed initially to come with like diesel, let's say, right? They're taking stock oil, and then they're having to process it into plastic, right? So they have to process it from stock material into plastic to get there, right? So when you're rendering it into a lower hydrocarbon chain, which is all your fuels, you can even go as far as like, you can do gas, you can do hexane, butane, propane, all that shit you can get off of plastic processing, right? It just takes a little bit more understanding. It's a little harder to do gas. You're dealing with flammable gas. But liquid fuel is even easier. Liquid fuel, paraffin wax, those will all be rendered from plastic. Now you're starting with a stock material from trash, even if it has water contamination. Let's say you have water all over the fucking plastic like it's off the side of the road, it doesn't fucking matter. When you render it, in an absence of oxygen, you're going to get pure fractions of whatever the temperature is. Your temperature in centigrade is going to control the length of hydrocarbon chain that you render off of your stock material. And so you can do anything you want. You can do kerosene, gasoline, you can do or of gases, of course. You can do diesel. You can do fucking high-end fuels. You can do whatever you want. It just depends on how much you want to process it, right? Now you can have stock fuel that's ready. If you're doing a sales model, you could sell to fucking truckers. So you could have truck stops on the sides of the highway that sell super fucking clean diesel because it's already coming from pre-processed stock material, and it's free, right? You're just breaking it down into its actual hydrocarbon chain that you can exactly control. So you can get from this, you can get cleaner diesel that's beyond the standard of what commercial diesel is sold at. You could have ultra clean diesel just by your processing technique, and then you could sell it cheaper than what the fucking oil companies are selling it for. Imagine that. Imagine how fucking quick you'll get assassinated doing that. Awesome. But that's my answer on what to do with if you have an inheritance or something like that, like an equivalent, right? Something that's disruptive. What you want to do, you want to aim for something that provides a service for society that competes with the control paradigm in a way that they can't touch and in a way that's overwhelmingly positive for people. So in the fuel example, that's just an example. But in plastic pyrolysis to fuel, that example that I'm giving to you, that is the aim of that would be to compete with monopolized fuel, which is being gouged. Not only is it being gouged, but it's being, you're fighting fucking wars over it and shit. People are dying because of it. It's very bad. It's bad juju. Now, you're providing it to society for cheaper than what they would buy it for commercially, underhanding the established monopolies, and then you're fucking you're cleaning up the streets also, right? So this is like you got multiple. This is a wham bam positive deal for everybody, except for bad people. That's the only people that are going to be upset about it. You know what I'm saying? So anything equivalent to that that's disruptive is sorely needed for the human race. The human races. Whatever you want to say. For humanity is good, and decency. It's clean the motherfucking streets. Of trash. So that would be a model that I would recommend. Other shit. Okay, yeah, we can do another no high stream later. Actually, I have a video. So I made a movie. It took me about 2 years to make. It's not connected, so it's in like multiple parts. I think I'm going to start working on that and releasing it. And it's going to take me some time. Also working on the music. The music's going well. It takes me a long time. I'm slow as fuck. Don't count on me. I'll just disappoint you. Don't fucking hold your breath. I'll get around to it when I can. I'm barely holding on here, guys. That's the other thing about like the emails and all this shit. Like, you guys gotta understand. Like, I work, get off work, and go to work. So this is, I've got a lot of shit on my plate, and I don't have any time. That's, I'm working with what I got. I want to show you guys some shit. I found a fucking patch. I found a fucking hella patch, probably 100-year-old patch of black locust. Okay. Now, black locust, a lot of people aren't familiar with it. So the way that you identify, there are some plants that look like black locust that are not, right? Black locust, this is young. This is a young tree. This is probably a 5-year-old or 4-year-old tree. Probably 4 years. So you have, this is the leaf pattern right here, right? So you have parallel leaf structure, okay? And this is a nitrogenizing plant, meaning that what it does is it fixes nitrogen out of the atmosphere through its capillary and root action in photosynthesis, and it deposits it in the soil. So you know how people so if you're not familiar with that, like in mass ag, like in your your bean and your corn, right? Soybean and corn. They have to nitrogenate soil. They typically use like urea nitrate as like a common one, or anhydrous nitrogen, right? That's how they normally do it. So there are plants that do this on their own. That they do it fantastic, like legumes, plants like black locust, things like that. Now black locust can get out of control. So if you live in like a little HOA or something like that, you think you're gonna plant some fucking black locust trees, you might have another thing coming. This shit. So the way that black locust works. Black locust, I guess to get back to identification, you've got the parallel leaf patterns. You'll get when it's flowering, you'll get these like white clusters that'll come off in the like in the nodes between the leaf formations, and they'll hang down. Your bark on a young tree looks like that. That's what your bark looks like. You're going to have small thorns. I'm trying to get my camera focused. There we go. You see that little teeny ass thorn? You see that? You see that little teeny ass thorn, right? Where's she at? There he is. You see that thorn? Motherfucking camera. I'm trying to. Apparently, I thought you could tap your screen and focus, but I guess you can't. See those thorns? See those fucking thorns? Those are black locust thorns. They're short. They'll fucking stick you, boy. All right. So you gotta be careful. Right. That just comes with the fucking territory. That's a young tree. Now these, as they are, those are poles. Those could be used for a lot of things. They could be used for trellises. Those could be used for low load fence posts, shit like that. It could be used for all that shit, right? The other thing about black locust is it's got a really high BTU. So we talked about in prior stream, we talked about like your Pomifera maclura, right? Your Osage orange, your hedge tree, right? Hedge tree, you're gonna have like it's approximately 30 million BTU per cord. Black locust, you're gonna be at like it's equivalent to white oak. Which white oak, if you don't know this, like white oak is highly sought after for when you're providing your own fuel. Like if you're wood burning, people fucking hickory, white oak, all not almond. I mean almond's actually good too. Not almond, but pecan. You know, all those are just the mainstay. Black locust is the BTU equivalent of white oak. You're gonna be at like 26, 27 million BTU per quarter approximately, right? Now in young growth, this is for both Osage, call Osage orange, and black. There's one that I cut the other day. When you're dealing with that's a 4-year tree. So when you're dealing with this, it doesn't have the same fucking same BTU content as a full grown, right? You know what I'm saying? It's not established enough. Now, when you fuck around and you get a fucking old forest, which these grow fast as fuck. Like black locust, it grows fast as fuck. This is one that I cut down the other day. And this is what you bark. Now this is vine. You don't want fucking vine. You don't want vine anywhere. That's your bark pattern for black locust when it gets big, right? It's a little different. It changes it, right? Changes its form as it grows. They're fucking big trees, right? They're pretty dense. They're not as dense as Osage. Not as dense as Osage. They have a really cool wood pattern, and you're at the same fuel density as like white oak, right? Now the thing about black locust, it shoots up pups. It shoots up pups, right? So this is a black locust. This is a small sapling, a seedling. It's really not a seedling because it didn't come from a seed. It actually came from, this is a fucking branch. So that was a branch that fell on the ground. It's off of that branch. right here. So this branch fell on the ground. This is a black locust branch. It fell on the ground naturally from all these black locust trees. Got buried. And then I actually I cut part of this. This was all buried. And you had pups, what are called pups, shooting out. So that is the reason that people don't like black locust, because it shoots up pups. So if you plant a black locust stand, it's gonna go fucking bonkers, right? If you have the right soil conditions, it's gonna go fucking bonkers and shoot up everywhere. Which, if you're harvesting it for fuel, is motherfucking fantastic, right? If you're making poles out of it, I mean, black locust poles, they're second best to Osage orange. Osage orange is probably the best. Osage orange, no bullshit, you could probably make a Osage orange post or pole last for fucking 100 years in certain conditions. Black locust is probably nearly equivalent. I wouldn't know because they quit using them so much, but they used to be used all the time. They're very good, right? Now, other shit that people were asking, they're asking about transplanting plants and shit like that, and taking cuttings, right? I got that in some emails, and so since we're talking about fucking trees, since we're out here fucking around with trees anyway, I figured I'd talk about that. So, for cuttings, what you want to do is you take the best time to do a cutting, by the way, is fall, right? You want to do fall. You don't want to do, typically you don't want to do the heat of fucking the summer, because it's hard on plants. You do it in fall, they're going to be in the dormancy period, even if you're in a hot environment, right? Even if you're in a hot environment, you're going to be fucking around the dormancy period. And it's better. It's easier on plants, right? And so what that means is if you don't know plant ID from bark and shit, that means you got to like mark plants or know exactly where they're at, because they're going to look different when all their fucking leaves and shit fall off, right? Now, on cuttings, what you do is you cut fairly new growth. So like, I mean, I guess black locust is a bad example because it's so pervasive and just like grows like a weed. Not quite, but it's a very aggressive growing tree. So it's a little easier than other trees. But typically what you would do is you would cut an area that you want to cut an area that had fresh growth. You don't want to do like old growth. You don't want to do bark, like heavy bark area. You wouldn't do that, right? Motherfucker. You do an area with like green growth. Like green growth, that'll sprout roots really quick. But a heavy bark, you're not going to have very good rooting. It's going to have difficulty. Now you can't do it. Now, somebody mentioned using willow water. You can use willow water if you know what willow water is. What you do for willow water is you go get a willow tree and you cut a bunch of green growth off of it and you put it in some non-chlorinated water. And you let it get soaked the fuck up. Then you take your cutting and you soak it in there for like 24 hours prior to dropping it in the ground. You can probably go longer than that, but I think most people recommend 24 hours. I never do willow. I just soak them in water for like 48 hours and then throw them in the ground and then keep the ground wet until they're rooted. I usually do it. You'll also have better success if you do it in partial shade, right? Especially if you're doing it in the summer, like early spring, summer, fall, it won't matter, depending on how late in fall it is. You just throw them in the ground and leave it, and then you can dig them up in the spring or whatever. Whenever you start to see them leaving out and shit, then you can pull them up, or you can wait like the next year and pull them up, and then just transplant them wherever you want. The other thing that you can do is called air layering. Air layering is where you're fucking simulating what happens in the ground in nature with a branch. So like, let's say that you're going to do this. You wouldn't even have to do this for black locust because it's such a madman plant. But what you could do is you take you like some real rich soil, or if you live in like a concrete jungle, you can go buy yourself some peat moss, and you're going to wrap a section of the tree in a ball with wet peat moss, and then you're going to fucking wrap it up with plastic, like saran wrap, and then some aluminum foil to block the sun so that the wetness doesn't dry out. And then probably put some like tape over that. And it's okay if it's not airtight. You just want to block the sun and shit. And you're going to leave that, and you want a pretty good ball, like a baseball would be like a perfect size. You're going to do that around a part of the branch, and then you're going to leave it alone for like 4 months, 3 months, 4 months. And then you're going to come back and you cut right behind it and you pull that ball off, and you're going to have roots that are going to grow out. That's a really good method because you don't have to go through the period where the plant doesn't have nutrients on it. Because if you do a cutting, it's do or die. You know, you do a cutting and you fuck that up, it's just going to die. That's also a reason why if you're doing cuttings, you probably, it's good to do like 10. You know what I mean? That way, if you have some failures, it's okay. You'll have some level of success. Right? Now that's, yeah, or fucking moss. You can use moss too. You can use whatever. What you really want is like loose soil. So if you have like loose, fluffy soil somewhere that you find in your yard, that's the good shit. That's like the good shit that's gonna give you the most nutrient access, most mineral access to plant systems and planting in general. But for shit like, you know, doing air layering, you can use that. You don't have to have moss. That's just what yuppies do. All right. Let's go cut down a locust tree. Oh, well, looks pretty good. So the first thing I do when I'm felling a tree, I'm gonna cut off all this other shit that's all over the place. Okay, so what I just did, I just prepped the pathway to access around the tree, right? That's what I was just doing. So if you look at this fucking tree, oopsies. All right, this is the locust tree that we're taking down. Gonna go way the fuck up there. We're gonna pull that bitch down, okay? Now, what I'm doing is I'm clearing out a path around it so I can see what the fuck I'm doing. The next thing that we're gonna do, if we look at this like steady with the horizon, you see that? You see which way the tree's leaning? What it's actually leaning towards, it's reaching towards light. There's more light over here. And so it's reaching over there. That's the natural way that it's gonna wanna fall. If you can drop it the natural way, that's the way that you wanna drop it. It's gonna be better. You can drop it the other way, it's got more chances of shit going wrong. If you're not aware of this, and you don't fell trees. Felling trees can get you fucking killed in the streets fast. Okay, so you know, let your mama know where you're at, so she can come pick up your body after you die. Because you get hit with one of these trees, you're gonna be fucking taking a long dirt nap. You're gonna be the compost. Be one with the compost. The next step that I do, I clear out my fucking runaway path, right? So, like right here, we're kind of in a tight area. So I've already cleared out like the area around this locust, right? But I don't really have anywhere to go. Now, there's some crazy shit that could happen with the tree, right? Like, I got a pretty good idea what's gonna happen with this tree. I'm gonna cut it and the motherfucker's gonna fall down. I'm gonna try to tell it where to go. But it could not want to listen to me. It could want to go wherever the fuck it wants, right? So, like, I could stand here, right here when I cut it, but it might not be a good idea. I probably want to get the fuck out of the way because this bitch could smack on something over there and the back can come up, and this is like a fucking thick forest here, right? So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna use some other trees, and that's, by the way, that's downhill, so I'm not gonna go down there. I'm gonna go uphill in case the fucking thing rolls or something, right? So I'm gonna go uphill, away from gravity. I'm gonna go behind some other trees, so that when this thing falls, if it bucks and kicks up, the back end kicks up, I'm gonna have like little prison bars here, little prison bars made by nature to possibly block the fucking tree from hitting me, right? And this is about 8 feet away. So what I have to do now, I'm gonna clear a fucking path so I can fucking hopscotch my ass over there and get the fuck out of Dodge. You feel me? And this is all just basic prep for felling trees. Pretty basic shit. Pretty basic every day of the week shit if you're a wild boy. And nature makes its own fun stuff. Kind of, sort of. If you can get it. Look at that. Oh, it's like that phone stand, that fucking selfie stand just came out of nowhere. Like it's fresh out of the factory, made last week in China. Just shipped over on the boat. So pardon me, I gotta go do this real quick. Okay. I cleared off all the bullshit. I need the water. It's fucking hot. All right. Any last questions before Dugan dies in a horrible tree accident? Last time to speak. Yeah, sure. Don't get black by the black locust. Don't get black locust. Right? Yeah. Should have hydrated one. It's okay. Live leak. Yeah, I'm gonna be on fucking. All right. Now just for fucking posterity's sake. Oh. There's the tree I'm cutting down. There's the cleared path. I'm just standing here. Then I run my happy ass right over there behind those two trees, right? That's after it starts falling. And I'm just doing that for extra safety measure. If you're Billy Badass, you don't have to do that. Or if you're just like suicidal or whatever, you don't have to do that at all. You can just stand there and just take what comes. It's fine. It'll probably just fall right over, no problem. Let's see here. I don't know how the fuck to try to set you guys up with a view. Let's see, if I put the camera at my run-to spot, stupid belief. If I put the camera, oh look at this. This is a mushroom. Oh shit! So, can you see that tree? Yeah. Okay, we got a good view. Chain's a little looser than I'd like it to be. That's okay. hammers. Oh fuck, we got a hung tree. Oh shit. Here we go. There she is, boys. There's a tree. And the smell smells like black lotus. Whoa, we got some popping. Oh, scissor me timbers. She's still moving. She's hinged. So here's the cut, right? There's the cut. We're waiting. It's so quiet out here. It's just all take a minute. I didn't die yet, don't worry. Oh, do worry. No, shit, dude didn't fucking get creamed by a fucking giant black lotus. There you go. Wait, somebody said this isn't how it's done. How would you do it? What do you do? Armored running boots. Or did you mean that's not how you do it, like cutting the live stream? I didn't cut it. YouTube just kicked me. Yo! The tree's trying to assassinate me. Well, yeah, but then you're gonna get kickback, bro. You get kickback. A Fiska? Yeah, you could. But anyway, it's good to go. She's just leaning there now. Yeah, cutting down huge trees is completely safe and there's no danger at all. Just kidding. Psych. Are you getting your bike stolen? Oh, I'm gonna steal your bike. Yeah. Oh, I got you. Yeah, fucking conspiracy, bro. YouTube trying to fucking censor. They don't want you guys grabbing your own fuel, bro. Oh fuck. We gotta cool off. Now with a luxurious air conditioning, we're gonna cool off and drink water. Okay, notch, board cut, and then cut the back strap. But why does it work so well? I've been cutting trees like this forever. What's the downside? I mean, I didn't go to fucking tree cutting school or anything, so I'm willing to listen to you. Yeah, they don't want fucking you guys. They don't want you to know how Dugan cuts trees. It's probably fucking IDF. It's fucking JDIF up in here telling you guys how to cut trees so they fucking shank you in the face. I'm just fucking with you. Have you taken the tree pill? Have you taken the tree pill, bro? Hey, brother, have you taken the tree pill? Ah, so cool. Locust, not lotus. This is Zionist lumber. So there is a gentleman here. There's a gentleman here. Armad says that you notch, do a bore cut, and then cut the back strap. And most people you do a straight back cut. Now, I'm doing an angle. The reason I'm doing an angle is because I'm trying to prevent. I'm trying to give it like a big ass ridge to ride up if it gets kicked back. Only because it's falling into like an entire group of branches. So like right now it's suspended, right? So I'm gonna go make follow-up cuts now to collapse it, right? But I'm controlling where, like if the front hits, like if you imagine like a Lincoln log set, and if you have a stick, like if it falls flat and there's nothing there, then things become simple. If you have a large group of trees in front of it and it's going to land into the canopy of the trees, like because it's completely surrounded by trees and there's no flat spot to drop it, now it's like you really have to worry about kickback, right? Because if you hit your front end of a tree, you're going to have the back end moving out, right? So like in terms of how professionals cut in various situations, like I don't know. What I know is that I've cut down a shitload of trees, and I learned from a guy who cut down a shitload more than me. And that's the typical way that we do it in that situation. If we don't do that, if we're doing an actual flat tree, we'll use wedges and shit, right? But that's a small tree, relatively. And so, I'm just doing a saw cut. Does that make sense? So I'm not actually, it's not really this isn't like a tutorial on like how to fucking fell lumber, okay? I'm just out here doing this and doing a live stream. I figure you guys probably wanted to watch the tree come down rather than hang out in my truck while I cut down a tree, right? I'm assuming that's the case. If somebody is serious, if you're wanting to get into felling lumber, it'd be hilarious right now if that tree just fell down, like smashed the back of my truck. Just, ah! Ah! So if you guys if you're new to lumber, I would definitely like do some research and talk to people that cut down trees. You know what I mean? I probably wouldn't read an internet article or a book. I'd probably go find somebody that cuts down a shitload of trees and talk to them and see what they're doing. That's what I'd recommend. I would go to the horse's nose and pick it. That's what I would do. Right? All right, what do you guys got? What else you got? Yeah, or pulling. Yeah, like using pulling, or even fucking. I've seen people use fucking snatch blocks and shit, and just do a stress cut, and then fucking use snatch blocks and fucking pull the bitch. Now that wood from that tree that cut down, other than the top holes, which I'm actually gonna build like a grape pergola for shade for summer. Because where I'm at, it gets fucking, there's basically full bore fucking hot sweaty balls until the fucking sweat freezes in the winter, and then you're gonna get icicles on your nuts. And that's pretty much, I'm sorry to be derogatory, that's just the way that it is, Yeah, so Chinese consulate burning documents in Houston. Yeah, so all the shit with China, right? I've tried to explain this. So it's like this. When you have the Rosetta Stone, you understand what's going on. You can predict the future in terms of broad events, right? Now, I can't tell you how the hand's going to come down and slap that ass, but it's coming down and slap that ass. That's what I can tell you. I can tell you that hand is going to be firmly and in your ears, you're going to hear a palpable, and it's going to slap that ass. I can tell you it's going to be there. I don't know which fucking way if he's going to fucking swoosh left or swoosh right. I don't know. So they're going to try every little trick in the book to piss you guys off, to piss the general public off, to get you in an engagement with China. That's going to happen no matter what. Let's say that everybody woke up and started getting paranoid, and let's say that Fox News and CNN lost their shit and they lost their chain of command, and then you had fucking news anchors on there being like, China's fake, it's a fake war. They'd still pop it off anyway. I mean, of course that wouldn't happen. That's not even a realistic scenario. It can't even work like that because they wouldn't even let them go on air doing it. But if they did, you rest assured to be some other psyop that was coming up. But the Chinese war is so heavily invested in, there's virtually there is no scenario where it doesn't occur. If everyone was vigilant and paranoid and didn't like the shit, and didn't want to go to war with China, wasn't going to accept it, they're just gonna fucking like, they're just going to like fund a terrorist camp of Chinese and bring them into the United States and have them fucking attack you or something, or just get the fucking PR China to come over here and just drop bombs. They can do it because of the influence on society and the influence between trade. This is how the Japanese got into World War II. So if you're not familiar with this, the United States prior to World War II supplied Japan with fuel and steel for everything, for the entire war apparatus, while it was waging its initial war in the Pacific. While Japan, I'm talking pre-World War II Japan, or infancy of World War II, while they were expanding and conquering peripheral islands and shit, the United States was supplying everything to do that. So the United States was materially supporting Japan in becoming a bad guy, right? Very reminiscent of what has happened to China, right? But in a more direct way and less all-encompassing way. The way they're doing China is because this is a much bigger war. It's going to involve a lot more people. It's going to involve the entire world. It's going to be legit a world war. Legit, because even if somebody doesn't participate, their economy is going to be directly affected. All supply, all economy. That's what happens when you get globalization. Like people should have had their fucking heads checked. Ever going along to get along with the fucking snow cone, cotton candy idea of globalization. It makes zero sense whatsoever. It only makes sense to a child. That doesn't tie up everything like this. You're creating a catastrophe. It's a fucking catastrophe. And it's going to result in the World War. And they're setting it up like that. And it's exactly like Japan. When we went to war in World War II, they did Gallup polls, and you had dismal support for World War II from Americans. They didn't want to go at all. You want to know why? Because Americans of that generation that were the older generation that were alive for World War I were sickened by World War I. That's why. And they didn't want to fucking go to World War I. And they went to World War I because they called it the war to end all war. Right? They never wanted to go to World War I. And the Gallup polls from pre-World War I were also dismal. Nobody wanted to go in the United States. You know why? Because it was against Germany. And the newspapers in the United States, like a quarter of them were German. If you went to New York City, you had so many German language newspapers. German was the second most spoken language in the United States. Primary foreign language at the time. There were so many German immigrants here. It was like, I mean, that's why the reason you have hamburger and fucking bratwurst and, everything like that is because Germany was the sister nation to the United States. And it had so much crossover with the culture of the United States post 1700s that it was everywhere, every fucking where. Not only with the British colonists, like the descendants of British colonists that picked up German culture and everything that has to do with it. Not only them, but the Jews. The Jews that came to the United States were like 90% German. So all of your newspapers on the East Coast and shit, your fucking film crews, all that shit, it's all German Jews, right? Germany was like the Tsar, and they were okay with anybody fighting the Tsar. And that's why that's the way that Germany got entered into World War I. Much the same way that the United States got entered into Iraq. The international press. Are we breaking up here? Or what? Do we have fucking... Let me know when we're good. I got a delay on comments, so let me know when you have clear stream. It might have been just because I dropped my phone. All right, we're good. The reason that Germany felt so compelled to enter World War I, now what you should know about World War I, okay? This is what you should know about it. In the 1800s, in the late 1800s, the Kaiser Wilhelm, the senior, went to what was Palestine, right, under Turkey, where Jews were, and the Ashkenazi Jewry had a spiritual leader there. It's a Rabbi Feinberger or something like that. You can look it up. You can look up is Germany Amalek in a Google search, and you'll find the guy's name. I can't remember the name because they're not really natural for me to remember. Israel, which is in cohorts with what? All right. Yeah. No, good point. Okay, are we good? All right, yeah, we're talking about footwear here. That's what we're talking about. You guys didn't know that. We're very into shoes. We have huge collections. We good or what? I'm waiting for my stream to catch up. Dialogue, there's no comments right now. By the way, if you're watching this, like, why the fuck is he just standing here staring at the camera? All right, we're good. We're talking about footwear. All right. So here's what's up. This is a fucking footwear, esoteric footwear elitist stream and tree felling. It's very eclectic. Now, so the spiritual leader of a certain sect of the Foot Clan, they declared Germany to be Amalek. Now, if you're not aware of this, in the Foot Clan religion, there is a positive commandment, meaning it's active and you must obey if possible, to destroy all of Amalek, which is a people. In terms of biblical crossover into now, it is established logically that you cannot identify Amalek. Furthermore, in when you start to get into Kabbalistic shit, Amalek, like elements of this stuff, like Amalek and stuff, are spiritual. They're not necessarily even 100% physical, like a people, like a bloodline, right? But anyway, the spiritual leader, oh, somebody asked me a question. Here you go. The spiritual leader declared Germany to be Amalek. They're not really allowed to do that. They did it anyway, right? Now, at approximately the same time as this, you start to get assassination attempts on the Kaiser. So the Kaiser gets multiple failed assassination attempts. People trying to shoot at him. People actually did shoot him. They hit him with pistols. He just didn't die. He had two. I think those guys got executed that did that. They were part of an organization that was communism was not, like, the world had never heard about communism at this point. It didn't exist. These people that assassinated him were in the same organization, the same social organization, the revolutionary group, that ended up forming the preliminary party where you get Rosa Luxemburg and Karl Liebknecht. Karl Liebknecht and Rosa Luxemburg did the communist revolution in Germany, which only lasted for a few days because then they got schwacked by the German, they got schwacked. This would be pre-Nazism. Nazism does not exist at this time. It took a little bit of investment. Now, what I'm saying is that World War I starts. The way that it started was because the international press fomented the concept. They synthesized the international consensus that Germany needs to defend freedom. And Germany is the only nation that's modernized enough and has enough principle to defend freedom. And so they did that, and they against Russia because they wanted Russia to go down. All right. Now, in order to get the script to flip, and so in order to be, not a hack that I am, I'm going to leave out the part about what exactly changed. But there are many people that believe that it has to do with the arrangement for the Balfour Declaration between Great Britain. The way that worked, the reason that is known is because it is known that when the Kaiser was in Palestine on a Christian pilgrimage, he was approached by one of the founders, one of the founding fathers of Zionism. Theodor Herzl approached the Kaiser in Palestine and tried to get him to get Germany to recognize and give the state of Palestine to the shoe company, the big shoe company, right? Kaiser Wilhelm was like, we be drinking beer steins and schnitzelwursts, and we don't know, like, this, what are you guys talking about? Like, we can't do that because this is Turkey, and Turkey is pretty much on good terms with us, and they run Palestine, and we can't just take it away from them and give it to you people, because that don't make no sense because we are a nation state and we do shit logically, right? And so that much is known that interaction happened, right? Like, it's well known that Kaiser was considered rudely dismissive of Theodor Herzl. Theodor Herzl wasn't well known at this point. He was basically writing pamphlets and trying to get shoes from Germany to move out of Germany and immigrate to Palestine. And they wouldn't do it because of the modernization of Germany and the ease of living, right? And they technically only come back during like proper fucking being exiled again from being kicked out and having the proper aliyah to come back to the state of Israel, which happens under circumstances that you can't fuck up, that you can't miss, because it involves the fucking Messianic era and the Mashiach, right? So you can't fuck it up, you can't miss it. So this is not like when Theodor Herzl's going around trying to get the shoes to come back to the homeland, like, they're not, they're like, nice try, but, they're no Mashiach, and, like, we're having, an okay time here. Because in Germany, if you didn't know this, we're basically going into like a huge fucking rant, but if I'm going to talk about it, I'm going to fucking tell you exactly what I think. Because Germany, the relationship between Germany and the Foot clan is that Germany was not a nation state, and it helped defeat Rome, right? And Germany always stayed to the north. The way that they got brought down into the south to go into Rome was through trade. Like, we're talking over like centuries, right? So Germany got traded with in order to start to like push out for finding resources and shit. And then Germany mysteriously like sacked Rome, right? And then like went back. There's really funny shit with Germany. So like, there was a dude that had a fucking like Roman golden head of a statue. He just found it in his well in southern Germany. It was from when the Romans were doing like little excursions into Germany and just getting their ass handed to them by Germania, and they just had like these wild boys just like waxing them, and they would fucking cut off the heads of their golden statues and just like, they wouldn't even keep the gold, right? They would just like toss the motherfucker down a well. So there's some guy in Germany, in modern day Germany, that found in the past like decade, found like a 100-kilogram giant golden head in the bottom of his well. And the people that tried to figure out what it was, the archaeologists, they actually tried to sell it and like keep all the money. It's a whole story. But anyway, so Germany helped sack Rome. And then when the Foot people were being purged out of Eastern Europe, presumably, I'm not going to presume why, but the Eastern Europeans felt it necessary to go out of their way and expend energy to get the Foot clan out of there. Right? Germany opened it up and let them all come in. It was like, welcome home, guys, right? Very, very fucking hospitable, right? And Germany is a traditional nation state structure and a very homely people. And so they're not about handing over their allies' country to a religious group, okay? So anyway, the entire point of all this is the United States did not want to go to war with Germany in World War I. They had to be fucking tricked into it. And it took them a long time. It took them multiple iterations of propaganda campaigns and expenditures of huge amounts of money through the international press. When World War II came around, it was the exact same thing. They couldn't get them to go there. They had to do all kinds of shit just to pop off Pearl Harbor. They had to cut off supply of Japanese steel and oil to Japan, right? And it was like a multiple year process of firing up Japan. And then Japan comes and attack us. And then, by the way, they had early warning that Japan was coming. They didn't stop it. Now, the other reason that they didn't want to go to war with Germany was because, I mean, you guys understand that like Germans have like bread. Not, I'm not saying just bread in general, but like bread, like the eclectic assortment of bread that you're used to, which is very small compared to what's actually out there, and meats like sausage, hams, preserved meats, all that stuff comes from Germany. You know, like all that shit is German. Bread, meat, and beer is German. It's the Germans have like 1,500 types of prepared meat, you know, like meat dishes, and I'm talking like different types of sausages and different ways that they preserve and prepare meat. The Germans have over 200 different types of bread, like all your rye breads, shit like that. It's like German shit. You see what I'm saying? So this is like now this shit is lost now because Germany has been wiped out, and so you only have little fragments of what's left over. It's actually very difficult to find the origin, like pre-World War I origin German recipes is very difficult. It's being like erased from history. But that's where all of your like all of that shit comes from Germany. That's how fucking serious of a world player Germany was for a very long time. And it was very difficult to get the United States to fight Germany. And it almost involved like a Stockholm syndrome, like brainwashing, where they were like, "Yep, we're gonna kill our own family members, like our own ancestors. We're gonna fucking murder them, and then we'll be good." But they pulled it off. If they can pull that off for Germany, you better fucking rest assured that they're gonna be able to pull off you going to a fucking war with China. You know, like no fucking problem. You're going to war with China, okay? And they're gonna pull it off any possible way they can, whether it's fucking having stories about burning documents, whatever, whether it's South China Sea, whether it's the Strait, whether it's India and China in the Ladakh region by that little lake. It doesn't matter. They're going to pull it off one way or another, and how you get there isn't as important. What's important is to understand that this is an investment. It's had a shitload of money put into it by central banks, and they're going to get their ROI. They're going to get their return on investment, and this is the bottom line. Okay? Now, if you ask me, the best monkey wrench that could happen would be if the German people rose up and kicked out their puppet government right now, just for fucking old time's sake. And nobody could blame them because the German people have certainly by now, gone through far beyond any amount of suffering that could account for any world war, or for all world war. And if the general public actually understood what transpired there, then you would understand and look at it as a mirror of the United States. Because where Germany was in their place is where the United States is right now. And you're about to get your fucking ticket punched. You all better fucking pay attention and wake up. I love you. Have a good night.